Law 46 says, "Do not project perfection." People are drawn to excellence, but threatened by flawlessness. A person who seems too perfect becomes a target for envy, and envy, left to fester, turns friends into quiet enemies. Law 47 says, "Know when to stop." Victory has a natural conclusion. The leaders who have destroyed their own legacies throughout history are rarely the ones who failed to win. They are the ones who could not stop after winning. Success makes people reckless. Discipline means knowing when the game is over. These 48 laws are not a moral system. They do not tell you what is right or wrong. What they tell you is how power actually functions. In offices, in families, in governments, in relationships, in history, in the street. Whether you choose to use any of these laws actively is entirely your decision. But not knowing them has its own cost. The world is full of people who understand these dynamics perfectly well. If you don't, you are not standing outside the game. You are simply losing it without realizing you were ever a player. So, which of the 48 laws surprised you the most? Which one did you recognize from your own life? Drop it in the comments below. If this gave you something to think about, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a psychology masterclass. Power is a game. Now you know how it's played. Stay sharp and master the game. If you are struggling to change your habits, the problem isn't you. The problem is your system. We are told that if we want to change our lives, we need to think big. We need to make massive, earth-shattering moves. We need to overhaul our diet overnight, launch the business in a week, or write the book in a month. But that is a lie. And it's a lie that keeps you stuck in a cycle of excitement, failure, and shame. This book starts with a truth you have been dodging your whole life. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If your life feels stuck, if you find yourself resolving to change, doing good for 3 days, and then crashing back into your old ways, this summary is going to explain exactly why that happens. And more importantly, it's going to give you the mathematical formula to fix it. This is Atomic Habits. Let's be honest about where we are right now. You want better results. You want to be fitter, richer, or more productive. So naturally, you focus on the goal. You stare at the finish line. But here is the conflict that ruins careers and relationships quietly. Winners and losers have the exact same goals. Every athlete in the Olympics wants the gold medal. Every candidate wants the job. If the goal is the same, then the goal cannot be the thing that makes the difference. The difference is the machine running in the background. It's the small, invisible routines that you do without thinking. If you ignore your daily habits to focus on the big prize, you will fail. But if you fix the tiny atomic inputs, the output takes care of itself. If you think this doesn't apply to you because you're not a disciplined person, just wait. Discipline isn't a personality trait, it's a mechanism, and you're about to learn how to build it. But here's the wild part. Most people think habits are about effort. They think it's about gritting your teeth and forcing yourself to do something you hate. James Clear flips this entirely. He says that true behavior change isn't about willpower, it's about identity. It's not about what you want to achieve, it's about who you want to become. And that shift changes everything. This book is organized into the 4 laws of behavior change. It's a step-by-step framework to hack your own psychology. We are going to walk through this manual, chapter by chapter, law by law. By the end of this, you won't just have a to-do list. You'll have a new operating system for your brain. Chapter 1. The Math of 1%. You think one skipped workout doesn't matter? You think eating one burger won't kill you? You're right, but you're also dead wrong. This is the foundational concept of the book, the aggregation of marginal gains. If you can get just 1% better every single day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse every day, you degrade down to nearly zero. The human brain is terrible at understanding compound interest. We expect progress to be linear. If we work hard for an hour, we want an hour's worth of results. But habits don't work like that. They compound. The results of your habits are lagging measures. Your weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. Your bank account is a lagging measure of your financial habits. You only see the result long after the cause. Imagine a plane taking off from Los Angeles en route to New York. If the pilot shifts the nose just 3.5 degrees south, a tiny movement, barely a few feet, the passengers won't even notice. But over the journey across the United States, that tiny shift means the plane lands in Washington, D.C., not New York. A tiny change in your daily habit is that 3.5-degree shift. You don't notice it today, but in 10 years, it lands you in a completely different life. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. If you are currently broke, out of shape, or unhappy, it is because your lagging measures are finally catching up to you. Try this.
Awesome question.
Stop looking at the scoreboard. If you're a runner, stop looking at the marathon time. Focus on the routine of tying your shoes. Forget the goal. Focus on the system. But if we focus on the system, why do we still give up after a few weeks? It's because of a trap called the plateau of latent potential. Chapter 2. The Ice Cube Trap. You are working hard. You are doing everything right. And yet, nothing is happening. This is the moment 99% of people quit. Change often happens in a breakthrough moment, but it builds up silently for a long time before that. We expect progress to be a straight line up. In reality, there is a valley of disappointment, where we put in effort but see no results. We crave instant feedback. When we don't get it, we assume our actions are useless. But your work isn't being wasted, it's being stored. You have to store up enough potential energy to break through the barrier. Picture an ice cube sitting on a table in a freezing room. It's 25 degrees. You slowly heat the room. 26 degrees. Nothing happens. 27 degrees. Nothing. 28. 29. 30. 31. Still nothing. The ice cube looks exactly the same. Then, 32 degrees. The ice begins to melt. Was it that 1 degree shift from 31 to 32 that did the work? No. It was all the energy put in before that. If you quit now because you aren't seeing results, you are complaining that the ice didn't melt at 29 degrees. You aren't failing, you just haven't hit the breakthrough point yet. The mantra. When you feel discouraged, remind yourself, I am not failing. I am heating up the room. Stick to the schedule, even when the data says nothing is changing. So how do we stick to it? We have to stop trying to do something and start trying to be someone. Chapter 3. The Layers of Change. Why is it so hard to quit smoking? Or stop biting your nails? It's because you're trying to change your actions while keeping your old soul. There are 3 layers of behavior change. What you get, losing weight. What you do, going to the gym. Identity, what you believe. I am an athlete. Most people start with the outcome. Real change starts with identity. True behavior change is identity change. You might start a habit because of motivation, but you'll only stick with it if it becomes part of who you are. If you say, I want to run a marathon, that's an outcome. If you identify as a runner, you run because that's what runners do. You are acting in alignment with your self-image. 2 people are offered a cigarette. Person A says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. This person still believes they are a smoker, just one who is trying to stop. Person B says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. It's a small difference in words, but a massive difference in mindset. Person B has shifted their identity. Smoking is part of their past, not their present. You can't fake it forever. If you don't change your belief about who you are, your old identity will sabotage your new plans. You will eventually act in accordance with the person you believe yourself to be. Practical takeaway. Decide who you want to be. Prove it to yourself with small wins. Every time you write a page, you are a writer. Every time you practice violin, you are a musician. Now that we know who we want to be, we need the toolkit to actually do it. Enter the 4 laws. If you're still here, this is where it all clicks. Up until now, we've talked about the philosophy, the mindset, the why. But mindset doesn't get you out of bed at 5 a.m. Mindset doesn't stop you from eating the cookie. Most people stop changing right here, and that's their biggest mistake. They have the inspiration, but they lack the mechanics. The rest of this video is the tactical manual. We are going to break down the 4 laws of behavior change. These are the levers you can pull to automate your life. The first law: make it obvious. You don't need more motivation. You need more clarity. Most of your bad habits happen simply because you aren't paying attention. Our brain runs on autopilot. We encounter a cue and we react. To build a good habit, you must make the cue impossible to miss. To break a bad one, you must make the cue invisible. The most common cues are time and location. But we are vague. We say, "I'll work out more." That means nothing to your brain. Your brain needs an implementation intention. It needs a script. When X happens, I will do Y. Think about your phone. If it lights up, you check it. You don't decide to check it. The cue, the light, hijacks your attention. Now, think about your vitamins. If they are hidden in a cupboard, you forget them. If you put them in a bowl right next to your coffee maker, you take them. You didn't get more disciplined, you just made the cue obvious. If your environment is designed for failure, you will fail. You cannot fight your environment with willpower forever. The environment always wins. Habit stacking. Use the formula, after current habit, I will new habit. Example: after I pour my coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Design your space. If you want to play guitar, put the guitar in the middle of the living room on a stand. Making it obvious is step 1. But just because you see it doesn't mean you want to do it. The second law: make it attractive. Why is scrolling Instagram so easy, but reading a textbook so hard? Because your brain is a dopamine addict. Habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. We are motivated by the anticipation of reward, not the reward itself. To make a habit stick, you need to make it crave-worthy. Dopamine is the chemical of desire. When you see junk food, dopamine spikes. That spike creates the urge to act. We can hack this using temptation bundling. You link an action you want to do with an action you need to do. Imagine a guy who loves listening to audiobooks and watching sports, but hates exercise. He sets a rule. He is only allowed to listen to his favorite intense thriller audiobook or watch the game while he is at the gym. Suddenly, he craves the gym. Not because he loves lifting weights, but because he loves the story. He bundled the temptation. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your friends eat trash, complain, and don't exercise, it will be socially unattractive for you to be healthy. You will feel like an outcast. Join the tribe. Join a group where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Bundle it. Only watch Netflix while folding laundry. Only drink your favorite expensive coffee while doing deep work. So you see the habit and you want to do it. But if it's too hard, you'll still flake. The third law: make it easy. Human beings are lazy. That's not an insult, it's biology. We are wired to conserve energy. The law of least effort states that we will naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. To build a habit, you must decrease the friction. To break a habit, increase the friction. There is a difference between motion and action. Motion is planning, researching, and strategizing. It feels like progress, but produces nothing. Action is doing the thing. We stay in motion because we are afraid of failure. Making it easy helps us slip into action before our brain can talk us out of it. Jerry Uelsman, a photography professor, divided his class. The quantity group was graded on how many photos they took. The quality group was graded on the perfection of one single photo. By the end of the term, the quantity group took the best photos. Why? Because while the quality group sat around theorizing about perfection, motion, the quantity group was busy snapping thousands of photos, action, learning from mistakes, and mastering the skill. You are probably procrastinating by researching. Stop reading about the best diet and just eat a vegetable. Stop reading about the best workout and just do a push-up. The 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Don't set a goal to read 30 books. Set a goal to read 1 page. Don't set a goal to run a marathon. Set a goal to put on my running shoes. Master the art of showing up. Okay, you showed up. You did the work. Now, how do you make sure you come back tomorrow? The 4th law. Make it satisfying. We repeat what is rewarded. We avoid what is punished. The problem is, good habits have a delayed return. The costs of your good habits are in the present, pain of workout. The costs of your bad habits are in the future, heart disease. To stick to good habits, you need to feel immediate success. The human brain evolved in an immediate return environment. Our ancestors focused on food, shelter, and safety now. We struggle with modern life because the rewards for saving money or eating well are decades away. You need to bridge the gap by adding a little bit of immediate pleasure to the habits that pay off in the long run. Think of the mint flavor in toothpaste. It doesn't actually clean your teeth, it's an additive, but it creates a cool, tingling sensation that says, "Ah, my mouth is clean." That immediate sensory reward is why people brush their teeth. It makes the habit satisfying right now. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. If you cheat on your diet and it tastes good, you'll do it again, even if you want to lose weight. You have to make the bad habit immediately painful. The habit tracker. Get a calendar. Put an X on every day you stick to your habit. Don't break the chain. Seeing a string of X's is satisfying. It gamifies your life. Never miss twice. If you miss 1 day, that's an accident. If you miss 2, that's the start of a new bad habit. Get back on track immediately. Deep dive. Advanced tactics. Let's go deeper for a second. There is a secret chapter in improvement that most people ignore. It's about talent. Here's what that actually means in real life. Genes matter. You cannot train yourself to be tall. If you are 5 feet 4 inches, you will not be an NBA center. But genes don't determine your destiny. They determine your opportunity. The Goldilocks rule. Humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. If you find yourself getting bored, it means you've mastered the habit. Now, you need to increase the difficulty by 1% to stay in the Goldilocks zone. Also, realize that the greatest threat to success isn't failure, it's boredom. The people who succeed are the ones who can feel the boredom of doing the same reps day after day and do it anyway. If that stings a little, good. It means it's true for you. We live in a world that craves entertainment. We want the montage sequence. We want the highlight reel. But real success is boring. It's unsexy. It's waking up and doing the same thing you did yesterday, but slightly better. If your ego is getting defensive right now, pay attention. That's your signal. That boredom you feel, that's the gatekeeper. That is the filter that separates the professionals from the amateurs. So, where does this leave us? We started this journey feeling stuck, aiming for big goals and failing. We realized that we aren't the problem. Our systems are. We learned that we need to make our cues obvious, our cravings attractive, our actions easy, and our rewards satisfying. You now have the blueprint. You can stop being a victim of your environment and start being the architect of it. Here is the core lesson of Atomic Habits. Success is not a once-in-a-lifetime transformation. It is the product of daily habits. You do not need to be a different person to get different results. You just need to be 1% better than you were yesterday. From this book, here are 7 things you can start doing today. Audit your habits. Write down everything you do in a day and label it positive or negative. Implementation intention. Write down, I will, behavior, at, time, in, location. Habit stack. Identify a habit you already do and stack a new one on top. The 2-minute rule. Scale your new habit down to 2 minutes. Just show up. Reset the room. Prepare your environment for future use. Leave the book on the pillow. Temptation bundle. Only do that fun thing while doing that hard thing. Never miss twice. If you slip up today, you must get back on track tomorrow. The single white line from the beginning is now soaring high, stable, and strong. You have the power to change, not by wishing for it, but by building it, one atom at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour. Go lay your brick. If you want to turn your commute into a university and your downtime into growth, make sure you subscribe to Audiobook Arcadia. We break down the most powerful books in the world so you can build a better life, one chapter at a time. I'll see you in the next one. Now go get your 1%. You earn money every month. Still, you feel stuck. Your income goes up, but your savings don't grow. You work harder, yet your stress remains the same. The issue isn't how much you earn, it's how you think about money. This book changes that pattern. In the next few minutes, you'll learn why smart people often make poor financial choices, why saving feels difficult, and how small changes in behavior can create lasting wealth. If you apply these ideas, your relationship with money will improve. Lesson 1. No one is crazy. Admit this to yourself honestly. Did you ever see someone making a purchase that doesn't make any sense to you at all? It could have been your workmate buying an expensive toy they will use just once, or your cousin rejecting an offer to invest anything after years of keeping those funds idling, or your friend who has a good job yet struggles to make ends meet month after month. At this point, what went through your mind? Probably some sort of statement like, "How can this individual be this irresponsible?" What does Morgan Housel tell you? The answer is simple. This individual isn't irresponsible, nor is he or she a fool. This individual simply reacts in a very different environment from yours, as do you. Think of a large circle, and somewhere near its edge, there's a small dot. The circle represents everything there is to know about a subject, while the dot represents your own personal experiences. That tiny dot is you. It includes everything you've seen, felt, and gone through when it comes to money. But the circle is much bigger. It reflects how money works across different people, time periods, and situations. Your experiences are real and important, but they're only a small piece of the bigger picture, not even close to the whole story. The issue is that your brain doesn't naturally see it that way. It treats your limited experiences as if they represent the entire circle. From that, it builds your beliefs, instincts, and financial habits, and then applies them to situations far beyond what you've actually lived through. This isn't a personal flaw. It's simply how the human mind operates. And it's a big reason why people often see money so differently and end up disagreeing about it. Imagine growing up in a home where money was always tight. Your parents worried about rent, counted every coin at the grocery store, and sometimes had to borrow just to get by. Without realizing it, you picked up a simple message. Money is limited, and it's something to be careful, even fearful, about. That mindset sticks. As an adult, risk feels uncomfortable, saving feels like protection, and spending often comes with guilt. Now picture the opposite. You grew up in a household where money wasn't a constant worry. Investments were normal dinner table conversations. Your parents took